Looking good, YouTube. My name's LoveGame, or PD1 Piranha if you prefer. Welcome back to more Let's Play Pokemon Platinum. We are back in Sunny Shore City, and we have all 8 badges now. How about that? How about that? In this part, we're going to show off a few things that we missed previously. I would like to grab a few of these seals, if I possibly could, because as I've been saying throughout this playthrough, this is one of my favorite features of this game in general, or this what do you call it? Just 4th gen in general. That was not in any of the other games after. It was so cool. I believe I mentioned it way back in my old LPs as well. But you could actually, as you can tell by what I'm buying here, you could put these seals on your Pokeballs, and it was easily one of the coolest. It's one of the coolest features this game ever had, because you know how Pokeballs by default have kind of an animation they play when you throw them out. Well, if you didn't like that animation and kind of regretted the ball that you caught your certain Pokemon in, well, the seals are your answer to that. And I want to put a few on my Pokemon right now, just because. The only inconvenience about them is that you can't actually deposit your Pokemon when they have seals on them, so it can be a little bit... How do I do this? Is it my PC? Okay, yeah. Haven't done this in forever, holy shit. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and make one. Now we have to use the touchscreen for this, so I'll switch over. We'll use something pretty basic. We'll get the electric seals for Luxray. This is, yeah, just kind of a cool way to spice up battles. And back in the day, yes, this did show up online as well. So it was a really cool way to express yourself, you know? And who doesn't like that? I don't have too many others that I want right off the bat, but there's a few I was kind of hoping to get that I didn't. What happens is that shop will actually rotate out every, I want to say every week or so. I'm trying to, how do I switch? Oh, here we go. I was trying to use the bottom. Okay. Yeah, they rotate out every day, so you get different seals depending on the time of day and or the day of the week, I believe. I think that's how it works. I haven't played this or gotten to this part of the game in a while, anyways. But it's a very cool way to spice up your Pokeballs, and who doesn't like that? We'll just make a couple for right now, just a couple of basic ones for the sake of. Can we set them? How do we set? Here we go. So we'll give one to... Oh, she's not in here right now. Okay, we'll give one to... a Cane of Water. Yeah, there we go. Just to show it off later. We'll have more as time goes on, but... Trust me, guys, we have all 8 badges, but there's still a lot to do left in this game, because... Another thing that makes Pokemon Platinum the best Pokemon game in my eyes is not just the overall gameplay and whatnot. No, it's, that this game actually has a very rich and, how do I say, there's a lot of stuff to do, and it has a good after game, is what I'm trying to say. The after game of Pokemon Platinum has you doing quite a bit of things. And, oh shit, I get my bike. There we go. Yeah, very robust after game with lots of content. Something else that Black and White kind of missed on, if you ask me. A lot of people point to the Pokemon World Tournament, which was okay, but I mean, that was kind of it. There wasn't really anything else to do besides, I think you could battle Colress and get another Master Ball, but other than that... Do I have cut or not? I do not. Okay, I'll just fucking teach it to somebody real quick, I guess. Because I have I want to train Nakuza here if I can. I'm finally using him. Long overdue, I know. Fuck. Okay, fine. I'll bring Bidoof back. He just couldn't stand to be in an not be in an LP part, rather. Or she, I think it was a female, actually. Anyways... I wanted to check this place out for real, because if you remember way back when we went and got our good pal Gibble, which is now a Garchomp. But what else does this place have to offer, you might be asking? Well, that's what we're here to find out. We need Flash for this. It's one of the few instances we need Flash. We're gonna go ahead and use Chansey here, just because she's kind of a good HM slave too. She's just kind of hard to get, so not exactly the optimal HM slave, but you know, she's something. Gonna need a few HMs here. I mean, Flash is not an HM in this generation because it's so useless that it wasn't really necessary, I guess. You know what, though? I'm trying to remember where we even go for this, because there's something I wanted to show off, but it's like one of those NPCs that follows you around and shit. I believe there's a total of 5 of those in the entire game, although 2 of them are, as a matter of fact, after-game trainers. Oh shit. I should probably switch to Nakuza, because these guys are low level as fuck. Anyways, guys, in other news, I am super happy right now because, let me tell you, here recently, oh jeez, this is gonna, well, it's not that bad, it's still low level, but anyways, no. What has happened is that after 12 years, count them, 12 years of dormancy, Zoids has finally been renewed to come back, not only as an anime, but as a Nintendo Switch game. It is so fucking awesome, I can't believe it. Right after I finished my Zoids LP too, so that might be inspiration enough to kind of come back to the LP just to do the optional content now, because let me tell you, I am feeling this new, whatever you want to call it, a return? I guess you could call it a reboot in some sense. No chance to change there, of course. That's kind of shitty. I'll just fucking switch. It's whatever. But yeah, man, this is just such a great news, you know, because like I said when I was doing the LP, if you guys were watching that at all, basically that series had been dormant for a long ass time. It kind of just went dead. So it is absolutely a welcome addition to see it finally come back for good. Hopefully for good, if it does well anyway on the Switch, and just in general. Because it's just like, I don't know, it's like, I didn't know if I was like being prophetic with that LP or not, because part of me thought it was just gone for good. But evidently not, so ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to remember where this NPC is, though, because we didn't get to fully explore this place last time, or at all, really, because all we did was go and fight the Gibble and catch it, which is in like a secret underground, or under the bridge, rather, segment of the world. Okay, I'll come back there later, let's see. I like this music, though, it's quite foreboding. It's cleaning up the rest of the world before we go to the lovely Pokemon League. We still have Victory Road ahead of us, and in my opinion, Gen 4 does have the toughest Victory Road in the series, just because it's kind of hard to navigate. It's a little tricky, a little puzzling, if you will. Did I not come through the right entrance, maybe? Trying to remember. But yeah, if that game, especially if it comes out in English, let me tell you, I might do like a day 1 LP on that. I don't normally do that, but I might break my rule just because it's Zoids, you know? And I want to be the one to bring that to you, you know? I want to bring that the best I can, because I love that series, and I want to give it all the love it deserves, and I want to do it justice. I believe I did that with my Zoids Legacy. There she is. There she is, my little guy. Isn't she cute? Her name is Spanish for look, by the way. Little interesting fact there, I guess, if you speak Spanish. Gonna go ahead and use Nakuza for this, since all these guys are a little bit low level. But yes, this is one of the, they're called stat trainers. This is the stat trainer of special attack in particular. I'm gonna take a drink of my new favorite beer right now, which is Wild Hawk. I keep calling it Wild Hawk. No, it's Wild Acre Tarantula Hawk. I mentioned that in the Dark Souls LP, but it is some good stuff. I need to use that flamethrower TM pretty soon, because I have not been using that, or, well, I only used it once, but I haven't used it yet. She will come packing a Kadabra, which has amazing special attack. Hence the stat trainer. So it is a great thing to have around, if I do say so myself. But, yeah, I believe the last two are in the aftergame. There's a Buck and some dude that's like, not dude, some girl that's like dressed in this weird kind of goth clothing. I'm not sure what her name is, though. Thankfully, you shouldn't have much trouble getting through this area thanks to the Kadabra, just because it's got, again, great stats, especially if you come here back when you're in the actual, like, when you're level 20, whatever, like, probably right after Gardenia, if I'm being honest. She even has Shockwave to counter the steel resistance there, or the steel typing resisting psychic, I mean. But, a nice little detour, if I do say so myself. I don't want to do a complete, you know, an entire completionist run, so I'm going to catch all the Pokemon or something like that, but I want to show off what I can, you know, just the cool little things you can do for optional content. I don't know, this game just always felt the most complete out of the bunch. That's the best way I can put it. It just felt the most, like there was just so much to it. There was so much more to it than, honestly, a lot of the games that came after it. I was very disappointed by both Gen 5 and 6. I've kind of said this before, but after playing this game, I kind of expected, you know, similar, to get that same feeling from, like, Black and White, or BW2, or XY. As I've said before, I do kind of, I like Black and White 2 a lot better than BW1, for what that's worth. I still don't think it's nearly as good as this game, though. For one reason or another. I guess I could elaborate on that. Why I don't like 5th gen and why I talk about that so much, because I haven't really got a chance to go into... I don't want to be too vague about it or give, like, just incredibly biased views. So, speaking of bias, I'm going to start off by saying that yes, I have a little bit of, like, personal bias against the games because they came out during a time when I was still very depressed and honestly borderline suicidal. I'm going to open up a little bit about that. I won't really go too deep into that, but yes, I was, during March of 2011, which is when Black and White 1 came out, I was in a very bad spot in my life, and so I do, admittedly, associate my time playing those games with bad times in my life in general, so I'll say there's a little bit of bias there, but that doesn't mean that I can't criticize their quality as games. And there's a couple different reasons that I don't like them as much. Of course, the number one complaint that I have mentioned before is the music. I hate most of the soundtrack of that game. I think it's one of the worst video game soundtracks I've ever heard. It loops, like, after 30 seconds or so. Like, I know they're not all the same, but the music in the game is very repetitive compared to almost any other game in the series, even Gen 6. So it's a little bit jarring, or not jarring, it's a bit grating on the ears. I've actually had to turn off the volume when playing that game a few times, which is not something I've had to do in previous, in any game I've ever played ever, so it was kind of a thing that was unique to that, an experience that was unique to that game, which is not a good unique experience if you ask me. Yeah, I hate the soundtrack. I wasn't really I know people say it has the best story in the series. I wasn't feeling the story, personally. I thought the whole thing, it was trying too hard. It was like trying to make some kind of, I don't know what, like an Oscar-winning story, but with the writing skills of an 8th grader. I was not feeling it at all. But yeah, everyone else is like, oh yeah, no, Team Plasma was the best evil team in the series, and they like, which I guess was kind of cool in a sense that they called out the whole, you know, using Pokemon for battle and all that is, you know, potentially a bad thing, but I wasn't feeling it. I really wasn't. Trying to remember if I need to go up this path or up the other path, because this place all looks the same. I know that's the point, but still. Didn't care for a lot of the new Pokemon designs either. I know every gen has its ups and downs in that regard, so I'm not going to say that all the Pokemon in that gen were bad, but like, a lot of them I honestly just wanted to punch in the face. Like, I hated Lillipup, I hated Patrat and his whole, or their evolution lines, I hated Kling Kling. The starters were all just okay to me. They didn't stand out, and they didn't really... I didn't hate them, but they also weren't my favorites. They were just there. I don't know, they just didn't really pop with me. I feel like that whole game was just trying to be Gen 1 again, because it was like, oh, we're gonna start over with new, you know, just new Pokemon, and I don't know, I feel like it was trying to appeal to Gen 1ers in some sense. Oh, how incredibly original, a team of Geodude and Onix. I can't believe I've never seen that before. Either way, the world itself wasn't interesting to me. The region of Unova was just boring. That's how I saw it, at least. Nice flinch there. It was all very linear compared to this game, which feels more like an actual... It feels like it could be more real, whereas Unova, you just kind of go in a straight line. There's not nearly as much to it. So... I just wasn't feeling that part of the game either at all. And I don't know, aesthetically it was, again, just kind of there. Nothing really popped out to me. What will this Houndoom or Houndour evolve it, I wonder? I'm not sure. Oh shit, already, okay. We have, ladies and gentlemen, our final evolution of this LP, so let's interrupt the story for a minute to welcome our new friend into his final state here. How do you love that? A regular Hellhound. I'm trying to think if I missed any, like, aspect I wasn't talking about before. I guess I already fought those guys. Fought him and didn't grab the item, strangely enough. Double team, kind of overpowered. I'll never use it myself, though, but it is there if you want to kind of stall out matches. Something up there. Don't know if I want to bother getting it or not. Let's see, did we come from... Trying to retrace my... Yeah, okay, that's a dead end, that's a dead end down there, so that means we have to keep going... We came up, we gotta keep going up, maybe? I am not remembering shit right now, because I was kind of getting lost in my own commentary. Is this the item? Nice, here we go. Get to bring out Houndoom. I did not know it evolved that early. That's pretty amazing. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've like missed over in that. Oh, I think it ruined the online play. Gen 5 did, honestly, because God, where do I? Okay, So in Gen 4, right, you had the option, if you were online, to set your entire team to level 100. So if you were like, if you had your team like EV trained and had the moveset that you wanted, that was good enough. You didn't have to grind your team to level 100 to play online. I learned that quite early on in my competitive career because I asked about it. However, in Gen 5, you could not do that. You had to manually grind to, oh cool. Yeah, you had to manually grind to level 100 to have actual level 100 battles. Now, they did have something, I believe it was called the level 50 flat battle or something to that effect. It wasn't the same thing at all. It wasn't. People like to say it was. But like, for example, you can only have 3 Pokemon in that, which was kind of lame, really. You couldn't even have a full team of 6. So it wasn't the same thing to me. I already battled those guys. That was the collector. Alright. Yeah, it wasn't the same thing to me, because you couldn't have a full team. And everyone's like, oh, but Gen 5 was the best for grinding because you could fight Audinos. Yeah, you could fight Audinos one by one, and it was incredibly annoying because you had to sit there and wait for them to show up. It was way too much, like, it was too much engagement for a grind. A grind is supposed to be where you turn your brain off and mash buttons for a few hours. I will give Gen 6 this. It handled grinding a lot better because all you had to do to grind in that game was just go to the restaurants. Here we go. The exit. I think I said that in my old LP at some point. That is a very kind of obscure reference to some like BioShock Flash animation. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'll meet you back in the next location. We're back here in San Jim Town, where we listen to some Tupac. It really does, though. Does that not sound kind of like the sort of the beat to Better Days by Tupac? I always got that impression. Anyhow, just for the sake of getting everything done, we're gonna go ahead and go down here, because now that we have surf, we can go down to the dirty south of San Jim Town, which is not a place many people go. Let's try to get the dub here. There we go. But yeah, since apparently Gen 8's gonna be on the Switch anyway, I got a good reason to get it now. For that and the new Zoids game. There's your good old Seal in action there. You've seen him once already just because of the, what do you call it? Just because of the NPCs using them, but there's one for you too. A little extra, as they say sometimes. But yeah, now that we have Rants, we're just like beyond OP. It's just no contest anymore. Not really though, because we can turn into an Ice-type Pokemon and get ourselves rocked. But hey, that's why we have our good friend Nakuza on our side now, because sometimes you just need a little bit of fire to balance things out. Oh man. So what have you guys been up to these days? I've taken a bit of a break in recording. I have a few videos to render, so we'll be having some more Dark Souls and some more of this. Then it'll be time to get on to Halo and Fire Emblem, so 2 totally new series altogether for this channel, something you haven't seen before. I did recently see a tweet from Chicken, the former, well, he hasn't lost his status as pro champion, but I mean, as I said before, he has retired recently, but I saw a tweet from him that said, like, there's some like football commentator that like he acts like he's an LPer that's worried about dead air, and I kind of get worried about that sometimes too, because if I ever go without talking, it'll feel like a long time, but I'll fight those guys later, I guess. And when I go back to edit the video, there's really not that much dead air in it to begin with, so it's actually not that bad. There is an item down there, so I guess I'll go check it out. Just want to see what all is down here. Yeah, this episode will just be kind of a little chill-ass detour, kind of doing different things, you know how it is. Next time we'll go ahead and do Victory Road, though. I don't want to stall things out too much, but it's just one episode, so it ain't like some kind of filler arc in some anime, you know? You guys have been watching any anime lately? I've been checking out Black Clover, pretty good show. Watch the dub version, though, trust me. Don't watch that shit sub, because the main character has a terrible voice. He sounds like a fucking car engine. Yeah, my boy Dallas Reed has been doing that guy's voice pretty damn good. It's on Toonami right now, so if you get that channel, you could peep that, but otherwise just watch it online. Good show. Kinda goes back to the old style of shonens where it's a little more long form. It's gonna be one of those... how do I say? Anyways, it's gonna be one of those kind of Naruto or Bleach type series where there's gonna be like kind of a lot of lengthy arcs. Oh shit. Where the fuck is my rappel? Did I pick something up? There it is. So yeah, if you're kind of one of those dudes who was an otaku or whatever back in the late 2000s, you're gonna like that show, because it does... it's not too heavy on the filler, thankfully, but it does have it's a longer form show, as opposed to the idea of using, it's not as heavy on having, like, you know, the 26 episode seasons and all that. It's more reserved for, I don't know, it's almost a callback in that sense, because I was not actually a bit of a weeb. I was not anything of a weeb back then at all. I thought anime was, or well, I was trying to distance myself from that culture, if you will. I didn't want to be seen as this, you know, as a weeb. I was more, I think I said that in my Zoids LP too, about the waifu thing. I was a lot more concerned with my own self-image, so I wasn't about to, like, get into anime and stuff and be like, yeah, I'm into this, and so I kind of had this cynicism towards anime back in that time, back when Bleach and all that was really big. So I kind of missed out on a whole era of anime, in a sense, just because of that. And it is what it is, you know? I think this era of anime is just as good as any, but yeah, Black Clover kind of gives me that nostalgia for era that I wasn't really a part of, so it's kind of nice to be checking that out now. It's a fun show. I think it's better than Naruto and those other shows back then. I mean, you guys should check it out and see for yourself, see what you think. But yeah, I know Pop Team Epic recently got an adaptation. I'm gonna check that out at the suggestion of my boys John and Nakuza as well. Both of them told me to check that out, because they had been like reading the manga since back in the day, so they're kind of like the OG fans of that shit, so I'll have to see what it's all about. But yeah, and I've been watching World End. Kind of as a really long title, but like the shortened version is World End. We got Jamie Markey on that, doing it up as always. Oh nice, that's a good bug type move right there, X-Scissor. Kind of pointless in Gen 7 because... oh, there's like construction dudes over here. Yeah, in Gen 7 you can use like Leech Life, which has 80 power, it's physical, and gives you back some HP, so it's kinda pointless. But in this gen, it's okay. And there's Staraptor again. I don't like its design as well, as I've said before. It's a fucking derpy looking crest on its head. Sorry man, but I'm not a fan of you. Swellow is much better. He does learn close combat, however, so if you want to have like a really overpowered move early on in the game, well, that's how you get it. There's Girafarig, whose name is a palindrome, if you didn't know that. It's the same forwards and backwards. Has a chain chomp on his tail. Now let me ask you, girl, not a dude. How did any of that demonstrate your status as an ace trainer? I can't figure that out. There's the Pal Park, we'll get into that later. Actually, you know, since we're playing on an emulator, I'll go ahead and explain that as my kind of send-off for this episode. Okay, so the Pal Park, if you have an actual console and game and all that, which I do, but I'm not playing on one right now. If you have Pokemon on a GBA game, that being Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire Red, or Leaf Green, you can transfer your Pokemon onto Gen 4 games using the Pal Park if you beat the game. Only if you beat the game. Actually, you have to complete the Pokedex, so that's like a different story, because you don't have to actually catch all the Pokemon, you just have to see them, but if you do that, you can get your old buddies. That's how I got a lot of my Pokemon all the way to Gen 7, was by using the Pal Park as the first step to that anyway, so that's what that is. But, that being said, I'm going to be signing off for tonight, and next time we will tackle the Victory Road and head to the Elite Four and the Champion. Until then, I have been Love Game, and I will see you guys next time.